Thank you. We will call the meeting to order. We have Trustee Stone-Cipher with the invocation.
Yes. Okay. Would you all please stand? We thank you once again, Lord, for bringing us together this morning. We thank you so much for this institution that we all serve and hold so closely and dear to our hearts. We ask for protection of our students, for our faculty, staff, and administrators as they do their work as we get through this spring semester and move towards the summertime. We thank you so much for what St. Pete College means to this community and what it provides our students. And I thank all of our employees here for their hard work and everything they do day to day. Some of the things that we see and some of the things that we don't see that are done behind the scenes. And we just want to remember this morning the life of Dr. Sean Thomas. We pray for his family. We pray for peace and comfort for them in this difficult time. It's in your name we pray, Lord. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll be starting off with our recognitions this month.
Suzanne Gardner.
Miss Suzanne Gardner.
Members of the cabinet and others.
Come on around. Where's your hubby? All right, perfect. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and recognize Suzanne Gardner for her commitment, her impact, and the work that she's done at SPC for, I believe you said 13 years? 15 years. And she's definitely going to be missed. So I'm going to read this and try not to lose it. Said resolution, whereas Suzanne Gardner became a part of the St. Petersburg College family more than 15 years ago when she accepted an offer to become our Associate General Counsel. When former General Counsel Sid McKenzie retired 4 years later, she moved seamlessly into that position. And whereas Mrs. Gardner quickly won the support of her staff and all those who encountered her with caring and compassionate manner, her sound and thoughtful legal advice, and her outgoing and always cheerful demeanor. And whereas Mrs. Gardner often worked diligently into the night in order to meet an unexpected deadline, she has graciously accepted difficult assignments and additional tasks, including assuming the role of General Counsel to the St. Petersburg College Board of Trustees when Joseph Lang announced his retirement. And whereas Mrs. Gardner was named one of the inaugural 2014 Top Corporate Counsel finalists by the Tampa Bay Business Journal, which recognizes in-house attorneys in the Tampa Bay area who are leaders in their company, organization, or industry, who display high ethical standards and exemplary professional skills. And whereas Mrs. Gardner always maintained an open-door policy in the college's legal department, she was never too busy to hear a student or staff member's concern or to answer a probing question. Her opinions were never hurried, but well thought out and thoroughly researched and analyzed. And whereas Mrs. Gardner has a warm, embracing family, which she cherishes, her ability to manage the demands of a highly successful career while also succeeding as a loving wife, mother, and grandmother has been encouraging and inspiring to those who know her well and those who have worked closely with her through the years. Now therefore, be it resolved that the St. Petersburg College Board of Trustees and the total college community hereby recognize and appreciate the outstanding contributions to the college by Mrs. Suzanne Gardner and extend to her our best wishes for enjoyment throughout the years ahead. Said resolution being adopted and approved by the Board of Trustees of St. Petersburg College this 22nd day of March 2022. Mrs. Suzanne Gardner.
Thank you very much, Dr. Williams and trustees and all of my colleagues. I appreciate the sentiments of the resolution very much. All those that worked on it, and I'm very humbled by it. This has been 15 great years for me, the best of my career. And so I'm very thankful that I've been able to be here. I think this job has just been fabulous. The college, I've just been impressed year over year with all the things the college does, with its wonderful leadership. With Dr. Williams, thank you so much. I wanted to first thank my husband, Ron, for all of his support and prayers during the time that I've worked long hours and had a really hectic schedule. Just when I first started, my youngest was only in 3rd grade, and now all of our kids are grown, have their own families, and we have 5 grandkids. Our youngest son and our daughter, Jenny, were our alums, as Jesse likes to say, and were able to use the tuition benefit to earn their degree at St. Petersburg College and go on to the university and go on to their careers. And so we're very thankful for that. I'm very thankful for my staff that are here with me, the staff of the General Counsel's Office. Thank you, Pam, for sticking with me for 15 years. I know that she was here 15 years before I started, but we've been here 15 years together, and I couldn't have done it without you. I'm so grateful as well for my other staff, for Susanna and for Tom, and most recently for Mia. This has just been an awesome experience for me. It's not, I don't think this is the end of seeing me around. I'm not going very far. I think I may go back to my roots and do some of the things that I really love, and now we'll have some more time to do. So you may see me teaching. I'm hoping to do some pro bono work, volunteering at my church, spending some more time, joining that tennis league that's been just kind of waiting for me. And I just wanted to say thank you again. Thank you to the trustees and to all of my colleagues and all of the Titan family for everything.
The board would like a picture of you. If you could just come on
Moving on with our SPC spotlights, we have the Employee Support of the Guard and Reserve Above and Beyond Award. We welcome Lieutenant Colonel Roger Trout, Vice Chair, employee support of the Guard and Reserve Committee to come forward to present the award.
Thank you, sir. It's like old home week. I think what you'll learn, a lawyer for life, Army for life, so it goes the same way. You know, you can't shrug it. This is long overdue. I may tell you something you don't know, but probably not, that this is a great place for a Guard and Reserve person to learn and to work. Two of your great employees are here today. Dr. Carver's back there hiding somewhere, and Command Master Sergeant Scipio over here are perfect examples of it. Of course, Dr. Williams has been a friend of the Guard and Reserve forever. I won't go back that far, man. One of the things that you probably don't know is one of the first awards that ESGR, which is a DoD program, gives is called the Patriot Award. And it's for a direct manager or supervisor who is very supportive of the Guard and Reserve employee. Having been one for 28 years, if my boss didn't, support what I had to do when I had to go here and there, and today we're sending all these young men and women downrange. We just attended a thing where 1,600 of our good National Guard folks here in Florida headed for Europe and in the Far East, and so another 800 headed down to the Horn of Africa. So we've got folks going out all the time. But within this organization, Dr. Williams has received the Patriot Award. I was here to give, I think, all of these. That shows I've been around too long. Deanna Steniford received it. Glenn Davis received it. Alicia Vitale received it. Martin Van Bergordian received it. And when Dr. Law left, we gave him the Seven Seals Award. So we're really proud of this organization. And this one is long overdue, because the Above and Beyond Award, you have to have had at least one Patriot Award in an organization to get this. And it's the highest award that we can give within the Florida ESGR. And so we'll present it over there and get a picture and all that. But thank you for everything for this organization that you do. One of the jobs that I have in ESGR is as an ombudsman. So I get to deal with companies who don't do it the way the law says they have to do it. I much prefer this positive reinforcement side of the business. So thank you for everything that you guys do. One other thing that I have one of my other well-paid jobs is I've been appointed as an Army Reserve ambassador by the Chief of the Army Reserve. So Jody has graciously, Jody Daniels, it comes with a 2-star, and I've already given my coin to Dr. Williams. But I also will present the organization on behalf of the Army Reserve. I got to put a plug in for the Army Reserve, even if these two Air Force guys, are around. But I told them, I said, I learned the other day in the Pentagon that they're going to get smart now and move the Air Force back where it belongs into the Army. So
we missed that one.
So Snickers sticker. They'll beat the crap out of me later. But anyhow, my certificate of appreciation for all you do for my Army Reserve guys as well. And on behalf of General Daniels, thank you. And I won't take up any more of your time, but thank you all for it, because this is a great institution for our young men and women.
Thank you so much. If we could get you to come up and the Board of Trustees take a picture with you with the plaque, that would be fantastic.
Yes, ma'am.
And I believe Dr. Connor also received the Patriot Award as well.
During COVID.
During COVID, yes. Correct. Good job.
See that? I missed one.
Thank you so much.
That's why you have Air Force aides.
This is perfect. I want to thank the SPC family for supporting our military employees and students, because it takes a whole village, and all of you have put forth the work to make sure that all are valued and appreciated. So thanks to you, our Titan family, for your contribution and your work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to our comments. I don't have a whole lot today, but there are some upcoming things that I will be attending that I'd like to highlight. One, we have our St. Pete College Awards Luncheon next Tuesday at Carillon Hilton, I believe. Jesse, right? We have our State of the College, what do we call those meetings? I guess State of the College get-togethers the following week. I will be attending the Clearwater one because I have Clearwater one because I have a conflict with the one downtown. And then, of course, graduation is rolling in here pretty quickly, May 7th, and I just heard it's back at the Trout, so that will be my first chance to do that, and I hear
It's magical.
Yeah. So those are my comments. I can open it now for any of the other trustees.
Thank you, Chair. Suzanne, I just wanted to say thank you again for everything you've done for this college over the past 15 years, and for me personally in the 6.5 years that I've been sitting up here, you were always open to a phone call, and you always were able to dumb things down for me so that I had a full grasp of everything that was happening and what all our options were. You provided perfect counsel, and I always was very grateful for your patience with me, especially when I was chair. And so it's very sad to see you go, but I'm excited about what's next for you, and hopefully taking a little bit of time, not working too hard, because I have a feeling you'll be doing some work. But thank you again for everything. It's much appreciated.
Thank you, Trustee.
And then I just wanted to mention, I was at the brewery, shocking, I know, and we had a great little local get-together there a few weeks ago, and I had a chance to catch up with Paul, who of course is the director at the Palladium Theater, and actually I saw Paul in the crowd today. I didn't know he was going to be here, but Paul, I just wanted to thank you for all the work you do at the Palladium to make that such a special place for our St. Petersburg community specifically, being downtown there. And it was great to be able to talk to you about the highs and lows that we kind of shared in going through COVID together. Very difficult 2 years, especially for a theater where all you do is manage events, which weren't happening. And I thank you for your creativity and making sure that we kept moving things forward even when things weren't happening at all. And I'm really excited about what the future holds for the Palladium. And I just wanted to thank you for your leadership and how much that you do show up in the community in different places. We see your face everywhere, and it's always great to run into you. And so thanks for the conversation a few weeks ago. Yeah. That's all, Chair.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to reiterate the point that Trustee Stonecipher made related to Suzanne. Thank you so much for your diligence and your hard work and always being receptive to a call and answering so many questions. You've done an excellent job, and you'll be definitely missed. The only other thing that I would have, Mr. Chair, is this week a tough week. So in the beginning of the week, a gentleman that many of you may or may not know, his name was Bruce Grimes, passed away. He used to be the city real estate director. He was the reason that we were able to get the land to put Midtown on. And then, of course, Dr. Sean Thomas is just a sad thing. He'll be sorely missed. He was a good young man, doing a lot of good things in the community. So those are the only two things that I have.
Trustee Dean, do you want to talk about Nancy? No. Okay.
Y'all go ahead.
Thank you. I want to echo the congratulations to Suzanne. I've so enjoyed our relationship here as a trustee and your counsel, and I echo the other trustees' comments. You're always available and know just what to say. I would always believe you when you said, no, don't worry about that, or, wow, thanks, let me go look at it, and let's see. So I really appreciate that, and love hearing your stories about the kids and grandkids, and can't wait for you to be able to spend even more time with them. So thank you.
Thank you.
I also look forward to the scholarship luncheon next week, and thank you for mentioning the Palladium. I am the trustee designee for the Palladium board, and unfortunately couldn't attend our kickoff meeting in February, but looking forward to the luncheon and our next meeting. And I immediately got several text messages from other community members who were at the kickoff meeting in February saying that they were excited about their participation as well. So I think it's a wonderful effort, and I'm glad we can put this group together. I look forward to serving there. I also just want to, I know I'm going to steal some of Dr. Williams' thunder, I'm sure, but I did want to express some thank yous to Speaker Sprouse and President Simpson in the legislature. As we've heard, with Governor DeSantis has focused on workforce development, and Speaker Sprouse has continually stated that that has been some of his top priority in the state. They truly evidenced that with the proposed budget, and I think the thing that all of Arid Eddie's work and Dr. Williams, who chaired the statewide consortium for advocacy, one of the things that I think is most evident about this budget is not funding new programs that cause us more work and cause us to remove existing programs, but they really created an opportunity to fund things that help underscore and help take the pressure off of operations. The capital expenses, some of our maintenance and operational expenses, and so that is greatly appreciated. Not to dilute the excitement of some of the new programs that we have, but the significant funding that has been absent over the past 10 years is just greatly appreciated. So I think that's it. So
Great.
Thank you.
Trustee Butts, you're good. I do want to say one thing. When I joined the board almost 3 years ago, and I sat right over there, Suzanne was like kind of my rock to my left, where when I would speak, I would have to look right through her, and she'd always, her face was reassuring and calming, and you'd always nodded like I had important stuff to say. And I will always remember that because you were basically my calming influence when I joined.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Michael.
Oh, I'm jumping you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you kicked me to the
President
curb
comments.
there. All right. You know, Dr. Sean Thomas started at SPC in our first inaugural Brother to Brother program as a student.
Wow.
And we're trying to find those pictures, but we do have the records. And he worked himself through school to get his doctorate, and has made such a huge impact in the community. He's a true pillar. Any of you who've been on Facebook, you probably came across his picture or name. As an adjunct in our humanities department, teaching world religion, his students. Thank you, Dr. Connor. Those of you who've worked with the students, to the Dean of Humanities, thank you for your work in finding a replacement. SPC will be actively involved in the support of his homegoing, and I'll keep you guys focused or updated. Since we met the last time, we celebrated the life of Minson Rubin, another pioneer in Pinellas County, an educator, an athlete, a passionate historian. I want to acknowledge Diana Bryson, who was a big part of curating the art, putting things together, organizing things under Dr. Tashika Griffith, who kind of helped me discover her at the downtown campus. I also want to recognize former Chief of Police Goliath Davis, Ann Taylor, and others from the Gibbs Junior College class, including Mr. Bill McLeod, the foundation, Jesse. We had a huge turnout. I mean, it was amazing, and it was huge. So I do want to thank you guys for support of that event. We also have a student, Angela Lee, who was acknowledged as a 2022 Coca-Cola Gold Scholar, which is a big deal for SPC. And 10 of our Titans were inaugurated in the All-Florida Academic Team, which was amazing. A week ago, we had FAMU back on campus, this time not with all the bands, but really recruiting students for transfer. And they gave out scholarships. One of our athletes attended the event. Actually, he was walking by and said, "Oh, I'm going to FAMU," and they say, "Here's $2,000." They just gave him $2,000 scholarship. But our partnership with FAMU continues to grow and continues to thrive. And so I want to recognize Cheryl Mundorf for strengthening that relationship and making sure that we continue. Our next step is Bethune-Cookman and Edward Waters. We want to make sure that we help people along the pathway, and there are a lot of institutions here in Florida that our students can avail themselves to. The last thing that I want to share, and I usually don't share what happens with me, but this one, it was important. Recently, I was named as one of the 5 inductees to the Tampa Bay Business Leader Hall of Fame. And I have you guys to thank for that, because a lot of the things that they utilized for this award was because of the great people at the college. The Board of Trustees, you guys pushed me to the edge. I appreciate the encouragement. And we'll be celebrating the college in that award. But I do want to thank you for that and let you know that I'm not taking that as if I did it on my own. I appreciate the work you have done, and I take this honor with humility and excitement, especially when I see the list of folks who are in the Hall of Fame as well. And that is my report.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Congratulations. Of course. The meeting is now open for public comments. Do we have any cards? Do we have any members of the public that would like to come forward and speak? All right, the public comment period is closed. Moving on to the review and approval of minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes? And if so, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, they pass. Ms. Gardner, do we have a report this morning?
Good morning. I do have some remarks. First of all, I'd just like to, this being my last meeting, just thank you for your kind remarks regarding my resolution for retirement, and just thank you for your strong leadership on behalf of the college. I also wanted to introduce Mia Kanza again. I know that each of you have met her individually, but I'd also like to ask her to come up to the podium. And I wanted to just share that she will be serving as acting general counsel beginning April 11th. Ms. Kanza's been serving as the associate general counsel for the college since November of last year. She came to the college from private practice with several law firms where she's handled various matters, legal matters regarding labor and employment, construction law, and insurance litigation. She's a native of St. Petersburg. She has a bachelor's from UF. And she also has her Juris Doctorate from Stetson Law School, where she graduated with honors. She's active in the Bar Association, and she's also active as a volunteer in our local community here, particularly in the St. Petersburg arts community, and will be involved and has been involved in the planning of the upcoming Mainsail Arts Festival. So, thank you.
Morning. I want to thank you for the opportunity to step into the general counsel role. As Suzanne mentioned, I'm from St. Petersburg, and both of my parents are educators, and my mom is still a principal locally, so it's an honor to be working at the college and to support the educational mission in the community that is so special to me. It's been a pleasure working with Suzanne, and I know that I have big shoes to fill, but I'm up for the challenge, and I look forward to working with all of you. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to our reports, strategic priorities. We have Dr. Trout who will be giving our first presentation.
Yes, and if you've noticed in your board packet, it's a presentation and action item as well. Chair Kidwell, Trustees, President Williams, thank you for having me talk about our academic calendar. Last year, the board challenged the college administration to take a hard look at the academic calendar of St. Petersburg College and see if we could better align with a variety of other calendars that go on in our community, specifically Pinellas County schools. We are looking at how we can align our calendar in a way so that during our academic terms, our students who have family obligations are not caught between their school obligations and their personal family obligations when, family are coming into town, when family have breaks, when childcare is needed, a variety of different issues for our students across the age spectrum from 16 to 85. Taking a hard look at this, we also looked at this through the lens of our college's mission. And so there's two things that really apply to this. Academic excellence, looking at student success to reduce distractions on our student population as we build our academic calendar, and also making sure that when we have breaks, they're at meaningful times during the academic term so that we don't separate, for example, classes from finals or things like that. The other point is looking at employee engagement and experience, because these things that impact our students also impact our employees and distract them from being able to best serve our students. So looking at our calendar and how we can best align for our students and our employees to have overall student success and serve our community. The calendar for next year, the proposed calendar for next year has two major changes in it. In the fall term, we're looking at starting at the traditional start week in August and ending at the traditional end time in December, but slightly adjusting the Thanksgiving holiday. We currently do 3 days of holiday at Thanksgiving, and the recommendation is actually to do a full week of holiday for Thanksgiving. And that's because Pinellas County Schools, Hillsborough County Schools, Manatee County Schools, everyone does a full week of break at that time, and it definitely impacts our students as they try and figure out what's going on with childcare for those 2 days, or if they're traveling for those 2 days, do they get their homework in? Or if they're a dual enrollment student and their high school isn't in school, but they're coming to the college for classes, how does that play in about? So this really helps minimize the negative impacts on our students. Also, by keeping the same term length and having that full week break, we still have a full week of classes after Thanksgiving before we go into finals. So we don't lose kind of our educational momentum through the term for the fall. When looking at spring, one of our challenges is aligning our spring break, again, with the spring break for not only Pinellas County Schools or Hillsborough County Schools or Hillsborough Community College, Manatee County, University of South Florida. It's been a real challenge of figuring out how to make that alignment work. A couple years ago, we experimented by moving the spring break week, but it had a detrimental impact into our term structure. And the reason being is we have, within our 16-week term, we also have 2 8-week terms. And by just moving the spring break week 1 week, it chopped up one of our 8-week terms. And so it really lost momentum for the students and success for the students during that term. So the recommendation actually is to shift the entire spring semester 1 week later in the year. This allows us to have our spring break week between our two 8-week terms. It also gives us a little bit more lead time in January so that prospective students who've made a New Year's pledge that they're going to come back to school have time to sign up, so we're not signing up, starting the semester right after the new year. It also has an impact on summer term by shifting the summer term a little bit later so that summer term will actually start after senior graduation. So one of our challenges for seniors graduating is our summer term starts before they graduate, so they don't really have the option of looking at the full summer term options going on. We also, this does, by shifting that summer term, does shift the summer term a little bit more. And one of the hard looks we are going to take a look at is what is our term structure for summer? As shared at the last board meeting, we looked at the success rates for that winter term, and having that really intensive 4-week session really seemed to work well. We don't do the 4-week terms during the summer, so I think we're going to start exploring looking at doing that during the summer. So there's a lot of within term structure changes that we can do as well that help mitigate all these different pieces. But that's the overall look at the fall and spring term. One other piece is I'm bringing forward not just fall 22 and spring 23, but also fall of 23 as well, so we can get 18 months out ahead of time, makes it easier to schedule classes, and help students look forward to what classes they'll be taking. I'll be coming back in the fall after Pinellas County Schools sets their 23-24 calendar to then come forward with our proposed calendar for spring of 24, summer of 24, and fall of 24, as we look forward to. Looking at our annual holidays, still continue to observe Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We'll have our spring break, Memorial Day. Looking at not this summer, because we've already set the schedule for summer 22, but starting summer of 23, adding Juneteenth as a holiday. Many other state colleges are doing this, so we aren't kind of out ahead of the pack. We're right in the middle of the pack doing that. Independence Day, Labor Day, our Thanksgiving holiday, and then our winter break. So those are kind of being consistent going forward. So that's an overview of the proposed academic calendar. Looking forward to having this approved so that we can start programming it immediately so we can release classes for fall. Any questions from the board?
Sure, Goodwill.
Go right ahead.
I just 2 comments. Thank you for the presentation, especially starting out with our strategic considerations. I mean, that is just like music to my ears and warms my heart to see actions being made based on our strategic plan. So thank you so much for that. And secondly, thank you for doing this. I know it was something that I asked Dr. Williams about when I first joined the board. Sitting at a gymnastics class, I had a faculty member mom come to me in the middle of spring break and comment that that was the most inconvenient part of being an employee at St. Pete College when she had young children. And I mentioned it to Dr. Williams, who has diligently been working on this with the team, I know, for the past couple years. It is not an easy task to rearrange this schedule. We might be careful what we wish for. As somebody who lives on the western side of the county, last week was extremely crowded on the beaches, but with 800,000 students, I think they said, were off last week. So, but thank you very much, and I don't want to belabor that, but we just really appreciate all the hard work that went into this. So, thank you. So, I'd move approval.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have our budget and finance operating report from Dr. Hector Laura.
Good morning, Chair Table, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Williams. As always, I would like to thank the Lord for the opportunity to be here today, because it's a bless. In revenue for this term, for the state funding, we received $47.1 million, which include our first allocation of the lottery, which is $2.9 million for the remaining of the semester. We brought $43.3 million for the student tuition and fee, which represents 75% of the total budget for tuition and fee revenue. We still have enrollment for the summer section for May and June. We have $3.2 million for other revenue, which include interest, dividend, indirect costs, and use of facilities. For fund transferring, we had $676,000. Our total revenue of this term is $94.46 million, or 64.8% year to date. The pie chart to your left represents the actual by revenue category, and the pie chart to your right represents the original budget by revenue category. Do you got any question about the revenue? All right, the next focus is our expenditure. Do want to give you a quick reminder that per the accounting manual, our operating budget during this presentation represents expenses by administrative function and instructional functions. As of this period, we have $86.6 million in expenses. On the pie chart to your right, you can see that instructional function account for $59 million. And to the left, you can see that $27 million is related to administrative functions. Of the 67.4 million is in relation to salaries and benefits. And then the remainder, 18.6 million, is related to regular expenses and capital expenditures. As you requested before, we divided between administrative and instructional function. Instructional expenditure consists of the college-wide expenditures related to instructional activities, like the academic unit where students take classes, like A&P courses, credit, non-credit, E&P developmental education, academic support, and student support. The total instructional expenses as of February 28 is $59.2 million. $54.8 million out of the 59 correspond to salaries and benefits. We represent 62% of the total budget for instructional function salaries. For current and capital expenditure, we have $4.4 million. On the other hand, administrative function consists of activities undertaken to provide the necessary services on a college-wide basis, which include executive management, finance department, legal services, facilities, and data management. As of February 28, we incurred $26.8 million, of which $12.5 million is related to salaries and benefits, representing 57% of the administrative function salaries. For expenses in capital, we incur $14.3 million, which is 57% of the total budget. I would like to make note that the payment for the chiller that it was included in the spending plan is in the administrative budget. So when you look at the contingency transfer, line number 9, you can see the increase to $2.4 million. That was part of the spending plan payment of the chiller. As of February 28, our total revenue is $94.4 million, representing 64.83% of our total revenue. And when you look at the expenses, it's $86.06 million, representing 59.06% of our total expenses. As of today, we have a positive variance of $8.4 million. We'll see this variance decrease during the following months. The bottom chart to your left represents the actual versus budget or instructional function, and the one to the right illustrates the administrative actuals to budget. Do you have any question about the expenses? All right, now let's take a look at the preliminary projection number as of June 30 to determine what we might be. As you can see, the revenue and expense chart as of February 28, we got 64.83% of our revenue. And we do have 59.06 of the total expenses. In the following scenario, we took the assumption of a continued decline in enrollment for the summer term, which is about 10% in decline. Our revenue stream includes all revenue related to our operating fund. Non-state funding represents 45.13% of the budget, and the state funding account right now for 54.87% of the total revenue. In this particular scenario, our revenue as the year end right now is about to be $137.7 million. In this scenario, there is a 10% decrease for all tuition revenues and fee. I would like to remind you that we forecasted a slightly 1% increase in relation to the prior year, which is not the case for many other institutions about the Florida college system. Many other institutions forecasted probably an increase of 5%, and in some instances a little bit beyond that, because they were considering the impact of the COVID vaccine during the fall enrollment, and people wanted to come back to school. Other revenue, and it's in track to meet what we forecasted as of right now. Our auxiliary fund is funded by the Bookstore Commission, Vending Commission, and royalty, and we are expecting to transfer the 1.35 million. Now, I do want to remind you that we normally, in the past, for the fund transfer in, we were doing about 2.5 million, so we have decreased that significant in the last 2 years. Do you have any question about the revenue projection? I would like to remind you that the entire SPC community adapted to the budget constraint that we have in the last 3 years and implemented different cost-saving approaches. In our personnel and benefit, we budget $110.6 million for salaries and benefits. As of right now, we're expecting to use $105.8 million, and this is a result from current vacancy positions that we have. Monthly budget meetings take place between budget specialist and budget manager. I would like to thank all the budget managers and the budget specialist for meeting every single month with our budget specialist team in order to identify different trends and different ways to have savings for the institution. For our current expenditures, we budget $33.55 million, and we are expecting to spend $26.96 million. We have some savings in materials and supplies, utility, travels, and other current expenses. Lastly, for our capital expenditure, we forecasted $1.56 million, and we are on track to use $1.49 million. Overall, our total revenue projection is $137.7 million, or 95% of our budget revenue. When you look at expenses, we are forecasted to be in $134.3 million, which yield a positive variance of about $3.4 million. I do want to remind you that within that $3.4 million, that is some of those already encumbrance that have to roll over to the next fiscal year. So that's why you see the large positive variance. These projections do not include the possible recovery of the loss of revenue. The loss of revenue is a one-time funding that we receive. If we include the loss of revenue as is forecasting right now, we're looking at a surplus of $11.6 million by the end of the fiscal year. Any question about the end of the year projection? We are looking forward to come to you, maybe in the next board meeting, to get approval for a budget amendment, and that's just to complete the part of the spending plan process that we have. So if our expenses hold in the way that they are right now, we might gonna come back to you with a budget amendment to implement one of the spending plan that was already approved by you in June, and it was approved by the Chancellor as well, by the Chancellor. All right, let's look at the fiscal year 22-23 budget planning timeline. We do continue with the modified zero-based budgeting, as well the realignment of the services with our employee structure set by Dr. Williams, the board, and our leadership. Both of these processes include stakeholder involvement, which promote inclusion, accountability, and enhance the commitment to meet the SPC 5 pillars. Every dollar is related to a strategic goal. During January, we had the Board of Trustees workshop where we present to you the health of the college, and the legislation section began on January 11. During February, we engaged on strategic priority with a cabinet budget workshop. For March, I just presented to you the year projection based on current assumptions. Legislation just ended March 11 and started the modified zero-based budgeting Monday last week. During the month of April, our Vice President will review the budget request. For May, we have the Board of Trustees budget workshop. And for June, we look forward to present the budget highlight, address any budget follow-up, request approval for the proposed budget, and submit the budget to the state of Florida. Do you have any question?
Mr. Chair?
Sure.
I want to thank everyone for their hard work on this. if we don't stay on top of it every single day, every month, we're going to find ourselves out of whack really quickly, which is what we saw in years past. So I really appreciate the diligence that is shown to make sure that we stay in line with where our revenues are actually coming in, and understanding where our expenses need to be for us to remain solvent and healthy as an institution. I think I'm hopeful with all the work that continues to be done by everyone here that we're going to see some of these numbers that declined during COVID start to turn around again on the tuition hour side, which of course would be beneficial for everyone. And then I also want to thank you all for putting together the year-end projections. I know you and I talked about this a while ago. This is so much easier for us to look at, and I know it can't be done till we're at a certain point of the fiscal year, but to have an understanding of this is where we are today, but this is where we think we're going to end up at the end of the year allows us to dig in even more and have a full understanding of where we think we're going to shake out when it's all said and done. So thank you for doing that. That's very helpful, and I want to continue to see that into the future. That's it. Thank you.
I've heard from many of you out there and a lot of the trustees that have been around longer than me of the war stories of what has happened in the past to get this kind of down to where we are today. So thank you for all your work. Thank you, trustees that came before me, because I know how hard it was based on what I've heard. So.
All right. Thank you.
Good job.
Next is the consent agenda. We have a motion to accept the consent agenda as is.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Consent agenda passes. The board was provided informational reports for our various organizations. Does anybody have any comments on that, or are we good there? Very good. We are down to the president's report.
All right. I am so excited about this past legislative session. I feel like I've never worked harder, ever, during session. And it was a privilege and a pleasure to stand in the gap for our school and to be actively participating legislatively. The people up here at the front have been huge. I can't thank you. I can't thank you enough. You made phone calls when I asked. You went to Tallahassee when I needed. You text folks when I needed, and you were right there. You didn't question the phone call. You didn't say, no, I don't want to do it. You did it. And we definitely benefited from that work. Erin Eddy has moved on to her new role, but she played a huge role in that. Jackie, also Rebecca with all the phone calls, with me being on the state group and keeping us afloat. So I'm going to read the outcome because I was told the last time that I tried to say it, I misquoted some numbers. So I'm going to read it to make sure that I don't mess up. So for St. Petersburg College, first for the system, the Florida State Colleges received $60 million in recurring funds, meaning we will get a part of that, which is huge because we've not received recurring funds in like 12 years. And so the state college system received that. We also received $400 million in deferred maintenance as a system. SPC is slated to get $47.5 million of the $400 million for deferred maintenance. That means for our facilities, technology, and things to help us do that work. So I'm proud of our system as well because we came together for the first time more than we've ever come together. So I was very proud of that. But we received, well, what we have until the governor approves the budget, we have in general revenue and lottery money $86.3 million, which includes an additional $5 million in operating funds and $955,000 for public safety upgrades. For the 2+2 and the incentive pot money, $1.79 million for 2+2 and $520,000 for Work Florida. I shared with you the deferred maintenance. In addition to the 47.5, we also received $5 million specifically for tarpon, additional $5 million. And then for the pipeline funding, $2.4 million that we received there. And that doesn't include whatever the outcome is and how they divvy up the funds that the system received. This is what SPC will receive should the governor approve the budget. Now, I know you're excited, because I am. You can hear it in my voice. I mean, if I could stand and click my heels, I would. But I do need to remind you of some expenses that came with the funding. And I'm going to read that because I don't want to mess up, especially with rising costs. For example, the health insurance increase is estimated to increase almost 9%, no matter where. No matter who you are and what you have, whether you're self-insured or not. So the consortium is working on what that looks like. Some of the colleges are getting 11 to 12% increases. We won't incur that. The risk management insurance is increasing. The state continues to pass along the Florida retirement system cost to the colleges. We'll get our new pot of what that cost is. I think last year, Hector, it was like $1 million or something.
It's around $600,000. This year it seems to be like around $900,000.
Okay, so it'll be about $1 million this year. So that's another expense that we wouldn't have had. We are in the midst of our comp study, so we hope to be able to get those results and implement what we've learned. And then there are other types of inflation that we're incurring, but the college is in good shape. The health we were able to share with the board last month is better than it has been in a long time. And so we have some opportunities here. We'll know more after the governor approves the budget and where we land there, and after we receive the rest of the increases from the state insurance, as well as the comp study and the Florida retirement system increase. So give yourselves a hand, because many of you pivoted very quickly to engage the commissioner, the chancellor. Last week, Starla, I don't know if you're back there, just turned on a dime for us to engage the governor here. He was at the Gibbs campus, and he was very pleased with our new building and gave the college kudos. And so did Speaker Sprouse. He gave the college kudos and gave the Florida system kudos. So we're getting the attention that's well deserved. And next year, I get to serve as the chair of the Council of Presidents of the Great 28. So I'll be spending a lot of time in Tallahassee. I may not be able to walk the halls of the campus as I love to. I'll be going to Tallahassee in the morning. And so we're in good shape. We'll keep you posted as the governor approves the budget and let you know where we really landed, and when we get the true cost of the new insurance expense, as well as the retirement system, the comp study, and all the good things that we have going on here at the college. Lots of opportunities, lots of chances for us to really make a splash. I do want to say that enrollment is still heavy on my mind, and we're strategizing. The President's Advisory Council will be meeting this afternoon at 1 o'clock or somewhere around that time, and we're going to be talking about the enrollment and whether we'll ever regain what we've had, because there's such a shift in the short-term training in the high-wage roles. And so from the credit side, students are shifting to the non-credit side. And so there's some stories there that the data is telling us that we need to take a look at. And we need to look at how we can strengthen that schedule to be totally student-facing and making sure that we're providing what the students want, how they want it, and when they want it. Because at the end of the day, it's about the student. As much as I love us, and I do, and we'll continue to provide the resources for us to have a good time as we work, learn, and play at the college. Students are, they're taking classes now at Miami-Dade online. I mean, there are opportunities, and we need to face those and understand it. So I'm looking forward to the end of this year and the new year and where we land to meet our strategic plan. So that is my report. Madam, I just keep thinking of you, Katie. I'm sorry. Been there a long time. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Very good.
I'm sorry. There's two other things. The April board will be bringing back the foundation and ISPS will share their budgets with the board. We will also have a DEI update on where we are as a college and the equity report for the state. We should have the recommendation for the master plan for facilities, and Capital City would like to come and share the outcome of the session. There are some new regulations. I think the accrediting rule passed that we need to talk about, and that one is a big one that we're going to want to dive into and how that impacts SPC. And also want to remind the trustees that immediately after this meeting, you will be meeting with your strategic plan work groups. There, now that's fine.
Our next meeting will be April 19th at the St. Pete College Downtown Center. This meeting is adjourned.
All right.
Thank you.